Hey everybody, welcome. I'm Dane, your host of the Rock and Metal Guardian. Hope you're having a fine day wherever you may be. Today's topic is my top 25 favorite Kiss songs of all time, so let's jump right in. Coming in at number 25 from the Alive album is Got to Choose. Great song about the narrator, or Paul, or just from their experiences, right? About how sometimes you meet someone, don't know if this is biographical, but either way it still works, where you meet someone, but they're also interested in someone else, and you say, hey, make up your mind, babe, that kind of thing, right? Because life is in many ways a competition. Great lyrics. Are they cerebral? No, but they're great. They're fun. Got to Choose. And a song we can all relate to, whether we're men or women. All right, Got to Choose, number 25. Number 24, this is the song that after the live album came out, and we were wanting some new studio material when we were kids, right? Or if you're my age and I'm in my 50s and we're waiting for the next studio album after Dressed to Kill, after Alive, and then this comes out and we get Detroit Rock City. Great song, a tragic story because of the person in the car accident, and I do believe it's based on a true story. You have Gene narrating the guy on the radio, and then you get the engine rumbling, and then speeding. You get the car crash, and then it goes into the song. You know how it goes, right? But it's just fabulous. Great song. So Detroit Rock City, number 24. Number 23, the song She. And as you can see, I'm using the live album for a lot of these songs, or I will be using the live album for many of these songs, because as you know, the first three Kiss studio albums are pretty poorly recorded and engineered and produced. So I'm going to go with the definitive editions because they sound better, and they're the ones that make me happier, that make me get up and go, the ones that I have to listen to. The other ones are kind of bland and mediocre. They're still good songs, but compared to this, even though this was touched up in the studio, I gotta use this one. So She on Alive, and that's the closing song on side B of the first vinyl record, or disc 1 in the case of the CD. Just a great guitar solo, just a great song all around. But you have that guitar solo, the dun da 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 da, that stuttering technique that Ace uses, right? Fabulous. Anthrax covers this on, I think, Attack of the Killer Bees. So She from the Alive. Number 20, that was 23. Number 22 is Getaway from Dressed to Kill. My favorite song on this album, and I'm one of the big Peter Criss fans. I love his voice. I love that raspy, gravelly tone that he has to his voice. It's too bad that he and both Ace couldn't stay longer in the band. Had they, I think, the band perhaps wouldn't have gone all hair metal-y in the 80s, and some of that I like. But just had they stuck to their rock and roll roots, and Ace wanted to get heavy again after they did Dynasty, right? And they did The Elder instead. So, but anyway, gotta get away, don't want to stay, right? Great song. So Getaway, number 22, has that classic, in many ways, late 50s, early mid 60s feel to it. Just a great song. And I think that's what they were going for, kind of like in the vein of Let Me Go Rock and Roll, which has that song has that Chuck Berry style guitar tone to it, or guitar technique to it, rather. All right, number 21, song about a woman who's extremely good looking, and the metaphor used for the title of the song is Hotter Than Hell. She looked good, she looked hotter than hell, all dressed up in satin and lace, right? All right. Not again, Kiss not being the most cerebral of lyrics, they're no Rush, but this is what makes them. This is why we like them, because they're just a fun band. They are heavy, not in a Metallica way, of course, but they're heavy in their own way, their own vein, their own style. And Hotter Than Hell has a heavy vibe to it, again, in a Kiss way. Just a great, fabulous song. I like the studio version, but this is even better. All right, so 21, Hotter Than Hell. Number 20, same album. See a pattern here. Deuce, the opening of Kiss Alive. And what a way to open the album. And then the song that comes after that, and then the whole album, really, there's just a synergy. The choice of songs in which the order they're presented is what is one of the reasons that makes this album one of my favorite albums of all time, whether studio or not. So Deuce coming in at number 20. If your man's working hard, he's worth a deuce. Kind of like the same plot or story of, same concept of The Doors, right? Love Me Two Times. All right, so Deuce, number 20. Number 19, same album, Cold Gin, a song about need something cool to drink because my head is broke. My heater's broke and I'm so tired, right? Gene Simmons fronted song. Fabulous. I even like the Ace Frehley version on his Origins Volume 1, but this is The Cat's Meow here. That's a close second. Ace does do it justice. All right, number 18, back to the Destroyer album and the fabulous Do You Love Me, a song about asking a woman, do you really, really love me? Or is it my fame, my money, my fancy cars, am I a trophy boyfriend, that kind of thing, or do you really, really love me? And we can all relate to that. So, Do You Love Me, number 18, and it's heavy. Again, for Kiss, it's heavy. Number 17, getting less heavy, or very less heavy, but still a fabulous song, off the Dynasty album. Number 17 is Magic Touch, and Paul's only on Dynasty 3 times as the lead vocalist. You got I Was Made for Loving You, Sure Know Something, and Magic Touch. And then he's backing vocals or shares vocals with Ace on Save Your Love. And Magic Touch is phenomenal. It's essentially an R&B song, sort of R&B / pop rock. And again, as you know, Gene Simmons was the song writing about, his lust. The songs are about, his lustful thoughts and his desires, where Paul, as Gene Simmons in an interview said himself, that Paul was the opposite most of the time, or a lot of the time. While he had some Gene-style songs lyrically, he was more driven about romance and falling in love and that sort of thing. And Magic Touch can be interpreted either way, but the vocal stylings lend a flavor that it's more about romance and love, at least to my ears. Just a great song. Magic Touch coming in at number 17. And then switching to the comeback album for Magic Touch was 17. Coming in to the comeback album, Creatures of the Night, for number 16, I Love It Loud. You remember back in the day when this first came out, the MT video for that, Right Between the Eyes, right? That's how loud we want it. 4 minutes and change. Fabulous song. The comeback song for Kiss after, for me personally, 2 duds in The Elder and Unmasked. And ironically, Ace wanted to be heavier, but even though his face is on the cover, he's not in the recording of this album whatsoever. And if you do your research, you know that there's like 4 or 5 different guitar players on various songs. One of them is Robert Ford, one or both of the Kulick brothers. Of course, Vinnie Vincent's on here at times. So, and even Bryan Adams co-wrote some of the songs, 1 or 2. If you get the box set, there's this faux newspaper that goes through that. So anyway, Creatures of the Night, I Love It Loud, number 16. Just a great, well, if we talk a minute about the drums, right? The powerful drums. Eric Carr is a much different drummer than Peter. Peter was more of a finesse drummer, where Eric is about pounding and beating the you-know-what of them in a heavy metal killer type fashion. And they're both great drummers, just different styles. And that opening to I Love It Loud is just part of the drums, is just what makes it so captivating and sucking you in, right? All right, number 15. Back to Dynasty. Sure Know Something. Like Magic Touch, you have that amazing energy and vocal range from Paul Stanley, singing from the heart, song about love. Sure Know Something. I've been a gambler, but I'm nobody's fool, and I sure know something. Right? Again, R&B meets rock meets pop. Fabulous. All right. Now, going back to the Creatures album, heavy metal love song, I Still Love You. 6 minutes, 6 seconds. At many times, I would regard this as my favorite song, but it's not. The last few videos I've been making are these top 25 favorite songs of various artists, of a specific artist, and these lists don't come overnight. I've been working on these for a month or longer, and this one is the one that took the longest so far. I have more to come over the course of X amount of time, but this is just a great song. It's emotive in the Paul Stanley way that we want from him. Again, singing from the heart. And the live version, there's some live stuff out there that's really good, but the studio version is my favorite. So I can't say enough great things about this song, I Still Love You. And the drums, right? Same thing, similar to, the whole album, Eric Carr's drum style is just phenomenal. And the drums on here, while not as heavy as Creatures of the Night and I Lost My Place, I Love It Loud, it is powerful. So a powerful love song that's a love song, but also a heavy love song. So heavy metal love song. Perhaps the best one of all time in the vein or style that Kiss does. So coming in at number 13, I Was Made for Loving You. And again, a similar vein as Magic Touch and Sure Know Something. We have an R&B flair to it. It's more disco, that specific type of R&B. So R&B meets disco, meets rock, meets pop. And again, Paul's singing his lungs out, right? Just so powerful. A lot of people were like, jump off the Kiss train. Not me. But then again, 1979, I'm 10 or 11. So had I been an adult in his 30s, maybe. Who knows? But regardless, this is part of my DNA. This album, I think this is an underrated album. There's one snoozer on here, or half snoozer, but that's a story for another day. So, I Was Made for Loving You. Do 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 do. Right? All right. Number 12. This might be a shock to many of you, but from the Rock and Roll Over album, Baby Driver. I love this song. Again, there's quite a few Peter Criss songs here on my list. Not a plethora, but a few. And again, just love his voice, that gravelly. It's heavy for Kiss or for Peter. And again, too bad that he couldn't stay with the band or wanted to stay or whatever the story is. Just different versions of depending on who you talk to in the band or outside the band. But I remember a while back, maybe a year ago or so, I was watching Martin Popoff on YouTube, and I don't know if it was one of his own shows or his podcast, or he was a co-host on another YouTube video. It was one of those, and he was saying he had recently listened to Baby Driver, and he remembered it being heavier, and so he was disappointed. But your taste changed. To me, it's for Kiss and for Peter. To me, it's still a heavy tune. And I remember being in grammar school, and I was 9 when I first discovered Kiss. I'm in 3rd grade, and this is the song we talked about the most on this album. Anyway, so Baby Driver, number 12. Back to the Creatures of the Night album. This title track, Creatures of the Night, another heavy song. And like Destroyer, we were waiting for a new studio album after, but this time it's not because, if you talk about Kiss Alive, there's nothing disappointing about that. But we were waiting for, we were anxious for new studio stuff after Kiss Alive. But then regarding this, the 2 albums that came before it, Unmasked and The Elder, we were craving something as a return to form. And we finally get it with this. Is this a perfect album? No, but the title track, Creatures of the Night, is just fabulous. I think one of the Kulick brothers plays the solo on this, but don't quote me on that. Great song, so heavy. All right, number 10, going back to Rock and Roll Over, Hard Luck Woman, acoustically driven number, and we've been told that they offered this song to Rod Stewart. He declined. Well, it sounds like a Rod Stewart song anyway, thanks to Peter's voice, and it works, and I'm glad Stewart declined because this is one of my favorite songs, hence making the list, cracking my top 10. So Creatures of the Night, just on the cusp of my top 10 at number 11, and Hard Luck Woman cracks the top 10 at the 10th spot. Hey, Poopy. All right. Number 9. Oops, wrong album. Haha. Number 9, Come On and Love Me. Everybody wants to be loved. I'll leave it at that. Great song. She's a dancer, a romancer. I'm a Capricorn, and she's a Cancer. That's a bit cheesy. But other than that, great song. Come On and Love Me. Number 9. Not very good lyrics, but it's Kiss. But Kiss is known for better lyrics, but that's probably low on the totem pole as far as lyrics go. Kiss-wise, there are others that are worse, but I still love the song, so it's going to make my list because it's so enthralling musically and enticing and that sort of thing. I don't want to use the word catchy anymore. I've said that word too much already, and I don't like it. It's hard to find the right word, and it dawned on me today why I don't like the word catchy, because I was in the grocery this morning getting some things for lunch for work this week, and the Weezer song came on. I guess it's called Buddy Holly. I'm not a big Weezer fan at all. I don't care for them. Something in the lyrics about Buddy Holly and Mary Tyler Moore. And so I get in the car, and now it's in my head. So it's catchy, doesn't mean it's good. So, all right, but Come On and Love Me is catchy. Last time I used it, hopefully, in a good way. All right, number 8, back to rock and roll over. I Want You. This might be a shock to you, some of you. And the great thing about it, well, before I get into the song, what's interesting about this album is you start with I Want You, and then the second song is Take Me, as if it's a response to the first one. I want you, take me. Who knows? But I love I Want You because you have that powerful guitar stylings of Ace, that he's using the tremolo or whammy bar. Every once in a while you get the thing, and I'm a dork when it comes to trying to echo guitar techniques, and then the way, and I love the whole song start to finish, but the highlights are the way that Ace uses the thing with the whammy bar. Again, sorry for that. And then at the end of the song, you can tell Paul's having so much fun because at the end of the song, or near the end of the song, he goes, "Ah," and then it fades out. It's just great. I just love the song. So I Want You is number 8. And that's a song about lust. And it's a Paul song, not a Gene one. So number 7, back to the live album, the anthem. You know what it is. Rock and Roll All Night, right? And then, of course, and Party Every Day. The great drum intro, great guitar intro to hook you in. And what's great about this song is that you finally get a guitar solo, unlike the studio version, which is, I don't want to say it's a dud, but it's just, I remember, because I heard this version first, and I went back and got the studio version. My mom got it for me, and I was like, oh, that was so disappointing, because for the while it didn't click. What's missing? Oh, no guitar solo, and the guitar solo is fabulous. One of Ace's best, and for me, this song doesn't get old. I love it. When it comes on the radio, though, I won't play it because then it might get old. That's one of my big fears. But I play it when I want it, therefore it never gets old. So, Rock and Roll All Night, number 7. Number 6. I remember the day that we met. I needed someone. You needed someone too. So I Stole Your Love. Those are some of the lyrics. This is one of their heavier songs in their catalog, I think, for Kiss. And it's one of the heavier songs on this album. Fabulous. And then number 5, Love Gun. These two, I could flip-flop maybe, but Love Gun, I think, is just a smidge better. I'm splitting hairs here, but Love Gun, one of my favorite songs. The title track, of course. Fabulous. And the guitar solo, wow. It's just, wow. And then number 4, track 2, After Deuce, Strutter. A song Paul sings, of course, about a woman who walks the streets, and sometimes she'll let you talk to her and flirt, and then sometimes she'll just pass you by, right? A fun song, and it has its Kiss type of heaviness to it. It's just a great song. I love it. So therefore, it makes number 4. Number 3, same album, Parasite, and the opening, right, and later on you get that kind of part with that, the second or third verse, and when I was a boy and I heard this for the first time, that was my favorite song right off the bat. But of course, later on things change. It's still number 3, so that says how that song has kept a hold on me. And probably my favorite Gene-led song, fronted song. 3, Parasite. Number 2, sticking with this album, is Black Diamond. And this comes on disc 2 or side 3. The last song on side C if you have the vinyl. And what's great about the song is it's that light and shade that Jimmy Page talks about, whether they intended that or not. Of course they did musically. Whether they were thinking about Page's concept is a different story. But you have the soft-spoken vocals, right, from Peter, out on the street for a living, this has only begun, etc., etc. And then you get the punch. So you have that back and forth between the soft-spoken, calm, but compelling, and then the heavy-hitting parts, and that's what makes the song so great. So Black Diamond, fabulous. And then number 1, same album, Rock Bottom. And in a similar vein to Black Diamond, and these, sometimes I want to flip them, but it's Rock Bottom all the way. Just a little bit more. And Rock Bottom has that classical guitar intro, which is extremely moving and inviting and goosebumpy, right? And it just grabs you and won't let go. And then the heavy part kicks in after that. And so that's the beauty of songs that do that, whether you're talking about Child in Time or Judas Priest, Dreamer, Deceiver / Deceiver, you get, the calm before the storm, and then when the storm comes, it's like, wow, it shocks you even more, blows you away in a good way when you don't have the classical or calm or compelling slow stuff, right? And that's the function. That's why it works so well. So Rock Bottom is number 1, and this ends. This is the song that ends side C. It's Watching You, 100,000 Years, Black Diamond, and then Rock Bottom. So you get those 2 songs back to back to close out side C or on the vinyl. But it's the 1, 2. Black Diamond is the 3rd and 4th song on disc 2. And so many songs, you just can't say enough about them, right? The song never gets old. And if you have the Kiss Unplugged version, even Stanley himself says, right before they go into the heavy part, even though it's acoustic, he goes, here's where it gets rough. And then they get into the heavy part, right? It's great. So Rock Bottom comes in at number 1, my favorite Kiss song of all time. Now let me give you my honorable mentions. Main Line from Hotter Than Hell. Coming Home. That's also from Hotter Than Hell, I believe. Beth from Destroyer. All the Way from Hotter Than Hell. Take Me from Rock and Roll Over. 100,000 Years, despite the drum solo being a bit tedious, I'm going with the live version again. Sorry I've been taking so long. Must have been right while I'm gone. Just great lyrics. It's heavy for Kiss, right? It's just great. And Paul's having so much fun. That's what's great about the live album too. He's just having so much fun. Tears Are Falling. So here's the hair metal Kiss era. I love Tears Are Falling. And then A Million to One on the LIU album, or as I call it, the White Album, because of the white background. And Vinny's got the purple shirt on with the teased short bangs, right? So A Million to One is back to that Dynasty sound of Paul with their R&B flavor. I just love that song. And his vocal, he's still in his prime because his vocal range is just, he just delivers the goods, to quote Judas Priest, right? Forever, the Michael Bolton co-written song, or fully wrote on the Hot in the Shade. That's the only song I like on that album, but it's a nice love song. Shock Me on Love Gun, a great Ace Frehley song. and Firehouse, the live version from the live album. So there you have it, everybody. One more thing. I decided not to include any of the Kiss solo albums. It would just made things more complicated. But if I have to do honorable mentions, it would be Snowblind from Ace Frehley and Fractured Mirror and New York Groove. For Peter, the only song I like on his solo album, unfortunately, is the last song, I Can't Stop the Rain. Makes my honorable mentions. And I didn't write it down, but now that I'm thinking of it, it's got to be my honorable mentions. And as far as Gene goes, it would be Radioactive and the song that he did on the Unplugged album, which is, now it's eluding me, See Me Tonight or something like that. And Paul would be Love in Chains. That's a great song. Anyway, so thanks for watching. I hope you have a blessed day. Don't forget to click the notification button to be apprised of all upcoming videos that I'll be making. And don't forget to click the like and subscribe button to help this young channel grow. Thank you so much for watching. Take care. Bye-bye.